Good afternoon. My name is Erazo, and the topic I'm presenting is Stockholm Syndrome. Today we're talking about Stockholm Syndrome. What is it, and how does it apply in therapy? Honestly, I knew what Stockholm Syndrome was, but I didn't really know the applications within the clinical therapy practice. So this research was very interesting. What is it? It's a condition in which hostages develop a psychological alliance with their captors during captivity. Emotional bonds may be formed between captor and captives during intimate time together, but these are generally considered irrational, considering the danger or risk entered by the victims. When does it was first observed? It was first observed after a bank robbery that happened in 1973 in Stockholm, Sweden. They were bank employees that were kept for 6 days. They were first wrapped in dynamite and thrown into the bank vault. And the thing that happened had shocked everybody is that throughout those 6 days, those people wrapped in dynamite, and from some reason became early attached by their captors. They felt bad for them. They even turned away police and assistants to get them out of there. They weren't helpful at all. And even once released, some of them still kept in touch with their captors and wouldn't testify against them in court. So everybody thought, what is going on? Why won't they tell us anything? Why are they acting like they were caring about what would happen to them? What they learned is that psychologically, in order to get through a terrifying situation, we often attach to our captors as a way to almost survive it, thinking, well, I care about them. I understand what's going on with them. See, they're keeping me alive. They are really nice. And in a way, by being nice to our captors, we are increasing the chances that we will live through it. So, oddly enough, it's like our brain's way of helping us get through an abusive or scary and traumatic situation. This applies in a clinical therapy practice, more along the lines of people who are controlling or having abusive relationships. Now, let's get into the fascinating part, and the reason Stockholm Syndrome takes hold. There are 4 factors that need to be in place and need to happen, so let's talk about them. The first and the kind of obvious one is that we must feel threatened either psychologically, and we have to believe that the abuser or captor will actually act out on that threat. The way we find this happens most commonly is indirectly. Maybe it's breaking things, throwing things around, or they may even indirectly talk about harming someone or something that you really care about, like threatening to get rid of a prized possession or to harm an animal that you love and care for. The abuser's goal is actually to get you to believe that the harm that they could do is possible. The second condition, and this is where it starts too, you can see how it can psychologically shift for the person being abused. is if the abuser will then show some small kindness. In the instance in Stockholm, Sweden, in the actual event, the captors said, well, they fed us and gave us water, and they talked about how hard their life had been as a child. They will do something to show you a little kindness, to take care of you a little bit, so you believe that they are not at all bad. What this does is it gives the abused person hope that the situation could change. This could be a small token like a birthday card or remembering to bring dinner home or any other small thing. A lot of abused spouses will say, well, they didn't abuse me when they normally would. So even absence of abuse with no positive things added, it can feel like a small token of kindness. And so that gives them it humanizes them a little bit and make us feel kind of bad for them. The third condition that needs to take place is being isolated from others' perspectives. The way that this can play out in abusive relationships. You are isolated from others' perspectives, other than the abusers. This makes it really hard for you to see a way out of the abuse and focuses all of your time and energy into not upsetting them or being around anymore who could upset them. The fourth and final condition it must take place is that we actually feel that we're not able to escape. This is almost commonly done through money. Many abusers will get you a car you cannot afford to make payments and buy yourself, or get you both in debt so far that you actually cannot afford to live. They will do anything to keep you trapped and make you feel stuck. In this next slide, you can observe that the FBI hostage barricade database system and law enforcement bulletin indicates that roughly 8% of victims show evidence of Stockholm syndrome. In these next slides, you can observe the abuse cycle. First, we can find tension, building, then incident, then reconciliation, and at last, calm. And we go around and around, and so on. As you can see, how these certain conditions, as they plan into it, can be similar to the abuse cycle, and that's why people get stuck into it. If you know someone who is in an abusive or controlling relationship, the best thing we can do is just listen and try to be supportive. Don't talk about the relationship. Don't get them to leave and try to force them to leave, because that can only build on the shame and the embarrassment that may already feel due to the relationship. And just be there to listen and support them. Well, thanks for your attention.